We've been going over the tape from last night's debate with our in-house WADR branding and image analyst. Of course, the great Donny Deutsch. He's still with us from our New York studio to break down some of the most memorable, powerful, and the outright bizarre moments from last night's debate. So, Donny, start taking us through it.
All right, Mark. I want to start with the times Trump launched direct attacks on Clinton during the debate, interrupting her at times and inserting a few off-the-cuff snipes that oozed with vitriol. Take a look.
If I win, I am going to instruct my Attorney General to get a special prosecutor to look into your situation.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail. And believe me, she has tremendous hate in her heart.
Okay, let me frame everything. This is now about gender. This is not about politics. This is about gender. What people saw about Donald Trump on Friday informs everything. Now they saw a man, they heard a man as a sexual predator, as a sexual assaulter, whatever it is, and now on stage telling Hillary Clinton, I'm going to put her in jail, attack mode. And I think that continues a narrative that is just going to take him down the drain. There couldn't be any, every woman, not every woman, women in America were sitting there like this. Those things that they heard Friday did not go away at the debate. Mark, thoughts?
My intuition's the same as yours. I want to wait for data and see. These are all obviously really complicated issues. I thought the fact that he denied the behavior and claimed it was basically just blustery talk only under repeated questioning from Anderson Cooper and hadn't done it previously, I think a lot of women are going to look at that and say, come on.
This is year 60 of the feminist movement. They're not going backwards. Okay, moving on. The next thing I want to highlight is how Clinton, for the most part, chose not to take the bait, deflecting conflict instead of getting down in the mud with the Donald. Take a look.
So much of what he's just said is not right, but he gets to run his campaign any way he chooses. He gets to decide what he wants to talk about. Instead of answering people's questions, talking about our agenda. When I hear something like that, I am reminded of what my friend Michelle Obama advised us all. When they go low, you go high.
What about the other 15,000?
Please allow her to respond. She didn't talk while you talked.
Yes, that's true. I didn't.
Because you have
I didn't
nothing
in
to
the
say.
first debate, and I'm going to try not to in this debate because I'd like to get to the questions that the people have brought here tonight. Okay, Donald, I know you're into big diversion tonight, anything to avoid talking about your campaign and the way it's exploding and the way Republicans are leaving you. But let's at least focus on some of the issues that people care about tonight.
Once again, lensed against Friday, I think Hillary Clinton made a decision, a very wise decision. I'm not going to be punching back. I'm not going to be the woman. I actually want to appear almost like a victim on stage. I think these things are related. The viewers do not take in, here's the debate, and here's the Billy Bush thing, and here's the this. It's all percolating at the same time. I think Hillary Clinton actually looked more empathetic than she ever did before. I think that was very deliberate for her to not be feisty, but almost have this man hovering at her and kind of just laying back. John, thoughts?
Well, I thought that there were a couple moments, the Abraham Lincoln thing. There were a few things that she were some small missteps, but I think by and large you're right in the sense that if you're watching someone kind of self-immolate or watching someone dig a hole, and you just kind of the right strategy is to kind of let them keep digging, and I think she felt like in the first debate it really worked to bait Donald Trump. In this debate, he'd already kind of baited himself, in some ways, 10 years ago when he made the comments that became so damaging to him over the weekend. She didn't need to do a lot more than just let him play out the string.
Okay, there were also some unforgettable visuals from the debate. Trump didn't seem to know what to do when he wasn't speaking, and there were times when he just hovered, I would say creepily, behind Clinton while she answered audience questions. And everyone was watching Bill Clinton's reaction as Trump rehashed decades-old claims of sexual misconduct against him as his accusers sat inside the debate hall. I thought the gymnastics of Trump were stunning, given the things I just mentioned. The fact that he was literally on her, you almost felt uncomfortable at home. So both from a verbal, strategic, and physical hovering, I'm going to use the word predatory again, I think women in America were going like this. I could not believe what I was seeing. Did either of you guys feel what I was feeling? Mark?
Well, I think the director didn't do him any favors. The way they took that shot, I think, highlighted the kind of spatial relations way that was slightly distorted. I also think, I may be wrong about this, but my impression was most of the time when he was, quote unquote, hovering behind her, she had walked over basically into his space, and he just didn't walk away and clear the shot. But he didn't initiate that spatial relationship. He just ended up there because she walked over.
I mean, John,
As for
I'm
the
watching.
Bill Clinton reactions, I mean, they belong in the Smithsonian.
John, I'm watching this literally as he's following her around. I mean, we all know women. I had a daughter watching with me, and she was getting a little creeped out. Am I overstating this? John?
Things that showed here is that Donald Trump did more debate prep for this debate than he did for the first one, but the kind of debate prep he didn't do was the kind that revolved around this choreography. And it was one of the things that I said for a week before this debate. I said this might be a problem for him, and it turned out to be a problem for him, I think, for sure. It was not a good look, and I don't. There were other more damaging things than that, but I did not think it was well executed on that front.